Okay, so Mr. Robert Harrap, welcome to Chaplin Talks. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm very well. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's really nice to meet you too, Robert. So for people who don't know you, tell us about yourself.
I'm the director of a Buddhist organization called SGI-UK. The SG stands for Soka Gakkai. It's a Japanese expression which means value creating society. And I've been in this role for about 6.5 years. I used to be a lawyer, and I've been involved with the SGI for about 34 years in total.
Wow, amazing. So that's a big change from becoming, being a lawyer to becoming that's pretty crazy. So what, how did you first hear of SGI? What got you started?
Well, back in 1986, when I was 21, I had a very nasty motorbike accident. And one of my legs was very badly damaged. It's much better now, but at the time I had a long period of convalescence. And while that was happening, someone told me about the SGI and this particular tradition of Buddhism. And they told me about the philosophy and the meditative practice, which is based around the chanting of a phrase, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I was very interested in what I read about Buddhism. And I found the philosophy very encouraging and very positive. And as I was trying it, I could see that it was having a huge impact on my life. Okay. And I started to meet other people who were involved, and they always had a very inspiring and dynamic approach to life, which I found very inspiring.
One of the reasons I thought I'd get in contact with you is because I know that President Daisaku Ikeda, who was a president of SGI, is a big Chaplin fan. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
It was founded in 1930, okay. And Daisaku Ikeda, he's the third president. It started as an organization, a Buddhist organization for people in education. So the first president was a man called Makaguchi, who founded it in 1930. He and his follower, a man called Jose Toda, were imprisoned in the Second World War. Because of their stance against the Japanese authorities at the time. Unfortunately, Mr. Makaguchi died in 1944. Jose Toda made it into an organization for people who were not teachers or in education, but for anyone. And then it developed very fast after the Second World War. Daisaku Ikeda, as a teenager at the age of 19, met Jose Toda, was very inspired by him and by his experience of standing up against the military authorities. And so he became very active through the 1950s as the organization in Japan, as it was then, started to have a bigger and bigger impact on Japanese society. And then in 1960, Jose Toda having passed away in 1958, in 1960, Daisaku Ikeda became the third president and really made it into an international movement. And so now there are people who are members of Soka Gakkai International all the way around the world.
Yeah, and I hear there's what, 12 million, 13 million followers, or am I right?
Around the world, something like that, yes.
That's amazing. Do you know how many there are in the UK?
Yeah, we have a membership of 15,500 in the UK.
Yeah, wow.
And there's about 160,000 across Europe. So
okay.
Which is quite, given that that's really since the 1960s, that's quite a dramatic development.
Yeah, no, that's fast, huh? And so why is it that you think that President Daisaku Ikeda uses Chaplin in his work?
When Daisaku Ikeda is giving encouragement, he draws on all sorts of sources. He uses literature, science, he uses humor. And I think, and again, as we, from time and time again, we'll come across references to him talking about Charlie Chaplin. And I think, one of the reasons that I think that's the case is because Charlie Chaplin, both in his personal life and in the characters that he has created so brilliantly, he shows an incredible spirit to stand up to problems and challenges and to overcome them. So I think, with great humor, Charlie Chaplin demonstrates that even when things are tough, it's worth challenging what appears to be impossible and transforming it into something different.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in one of your emails, because I have some of the extracts that you sent me from some of the newsletters, and you're saying that, for example, in Limelight.
Oh, shall I read the quote? Is it?
You got the quote. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is an example of excuse me. This is an example of Daisaku Ikeda quoting Chaplin. So he wrote in a speech, "Encouragement that touches people's hearts can be called the art of life. In one of Chaplin's great films, Limelight, there is a famous scene where an aging performer encourages a young ballerina who is facing a severe trial. Chaplin's character urges her to fight on for the sake of herself and her existence. He says," so this is talking to the ballerina, he says, "think of the power that's in the universe, moving the earth, growing the trees, and that's the same power within you, if you'll only have courage and the will to use it." And then at the end, President Ikeda comments, "Everything is a struggle. This is the essence of both life and art." So, so Charlie Chaplin refers to this power in the universe, and in a way, that's a secular way of talking about what, as a Buddhist, I believe that Nam-myoho Renge Kyo can do, enables us to draw on that inner potential that's in our lives.
That's really nice, isn't it? You know what I love about all of this is that people still take inspiration from my grandfather's words, even though he was a silent movie star, you know? And so there are different forms of Buddhism, right? How does the Buddhism you practice differ from others, let's say?
Yes, there are. I mean, many traditions. Buddhism spread in the 2,500 years since it was founded in northern India. It spread right across Asia. It followed the Silk Road, the trading route.
Yeah.
And so you get Buddhism in Sri Lanka or in Cambodia or Thailand or Tibet, Nepal, across China, Korea, Japan. And then, of course, now it's become a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, I think the reason I was introduced to this particular strand, but I'm pleased I have, because it's very much about engaging in society. It's about it's not about living on a mountaintop. It's about rolling your sleeves up and getting involved. When I was working as a lawyer, I found it incredibly useful to have this philosophy in my life, because it enabled me to view what was going on in life with a very different perspective.
Okay. And so tell us about this chant that you mentioned before. Can you, tell us about it?
Yeah. So this particular tradition goes back to a Japanese reformer of Buddhism called Nichiren, who lived in the 13th century in Japan. And he really focused on a Buddhist teaching called the Lotus Sutra. So in English, we'd call it the Lotus Sutra. And in the time that he lived, the title was Myoho Renge Kyo. And he taught that that this phrase was much more than just the title. He added a syllable at the beginning, Nam, to make Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam means devotion to, or respect, or fusion with. And he taught that this, what became a 6-syllable phrase, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, was the way to draw out the qualities of the Buddha that everyone has inherent in their life. So the Buddha's, we often talk about the Buddha's wisdom, or the Buddha's compassion, or courage, dynamism, creativity, or life force. And Nichiren taught that if we chant this phrase, we draw those qualities out of our life. So on one level, it's the title of the Lotus Sutra, but we quickly see, as we study it and we read about it, we see that it explains the interconnectedness of all things, the ability to transform our lives from being based on the small ego to the greater, more compassionate self.
Okay.
And then the kind of the deepest way is seeing that it's a real celebration of the potential, of the creative potential in all life. So when I do my daily chanting, I'm really celebrating the creativity that I'm trying to achieve in my life, and seeing that become manifest.
Okay. So, and do you have any projects coming up then?
Normally we have people coming to our centres. We're a grassroots movement, so in the UK most meetings take place in people's homes, but we have various centres either in London or around the place where people come for meetings. So actually we're completely relying on video platforms like Zoom at the moment, but we're finding that more people are actually engaging because they people who are maybe didn't want to travel before to a meeting, they can do it from their own home. So we've got extraordinary engagement in things at the moment.
Amazing.
And we're not in any rush to open up our centres or have meetings, because we want to make sure that everyone's really protected and that we do it in the safest way.
No, absolutely. And oh, wait, quick, before we finish, do you have a favorite Chaplin film? Favorite scene, maybe?
I took the opportunity to brush up and to remind myself, and I came across a film which I can remember watching many years ago. It lasts about 20 minutes, and it's called The Rink.
Yes.
And and I love it because it's sort of takes place in two main places. It's placed in a restaurant. And so there's the whole thing about serving food and the in-outdoors in the kitchen, which is just a brilliant opportunity for confusion and farce. And then I love it when they go skating and they're in this roller skating rink. And what I just think is absolutely brilliant is that Charlie Chaplin makes it look like he's a terrible skater, but you can tell that he must have been brilliant to be able to skate so badly. Because so you have this kind of, both in the restaurant and on the skating rink, you have this real example of him as a master of kind of physicality and slapstick and so on. So it was really lovely to rediscover The Rink and see him as absolutely at his best.
He was definitely a very good roller skater. He was very good at dancing, any acrobatics and all that kind of stuff. He was a master of it. And I don't know if you've seen the film Modern Times. There's a scene where he's on rollerblades and he's blindfolded and he's basically skating next to this balcony and it looks like he's going to fall off. It's just done so well, and apparently it was all done by him. Those days there was no really stuntmen involved.
No, well, you can tell. I mean, like the fact it pains me every time I see him fall downstairs. But you just know that he's, that he has that extraordinary ability, and it's not a stuntman, it's him.
No, he was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Chaplin Talks, Robert.
A pleasure. Thank you very much. And very nice to meet you.
It was really nice to meet you. Huh? Is there a website that people can go and check out if they want more information on SGI?
So there's a sort of an international website, so sgi.org. If they're in the UK, we have one, sgi-uk.org, and they can find out about the activities that we do and how to connect.
Thank you so much, Robert. Take care.
That's a pleasure.
Take care, man, and stay safe.
You too.